Imagine the scene. A sterile, glass-walled boardroom on the 50th floor. A press release has just gone out. The visionary founder, the one whose face is the brand, whose genius built the empire, is dead. Within minutes, the stock price craters. The board members, who just last week were praising his name, are now quietly calculating their alliances. The media begins to ask the one question that terrifies everyone. What now? The system he built, once seen as perfect and unstoppable, suddenly looks fragile, hollow. The vision is gone. Chaos begins to seep in through the cracks. Why does this happen? Why do some empires, companies, and family legacies, the work of a lifetime, disintegrate the moment their founder is gone? And why do others seem to find a way to endure, to adapt, and to thrive for centuries? We search for answers in modern business journals and leadership seminars. But the truth is, humanity solved this problem 4,000 years ago. Welcome to Hindsight Lore. We believe the past is our greatest teacher, and etched into the stone temples of the Nile is not just a myth. It is a sophisticated, timeless blueprint for legacy, crisis, management, and succession planning. It is the story of a perfect king, a jealous brother, a guardian queen, and the heir who had to fight for his inheritance. This is not just mythology. This is the strategic playbook of Osiris, Set, and Horus, and it reveals the one brutal truth of all great achievements. Your legacy is not what you build. It is what survives you. Before the chaos, there was order, and that order had a name, Osiris. To understand the tragedy, we must first understand the perfection that made it possible. In the lore of ancient Egypt, Osiris was not simply a king. He was the king. He was the archetype of the perfect founder. He was the one who descended to find humanity in a state of primitive chaos, savage, nomadic, cannibalistic, and he gave them the system. He gave them agriculture, teaching them to work with the land, not against it. He gave them laws, forging a society from the rabble. He gave them culture and music, giving that society a soul. Osiris is the living embodiment of Ma'at, the Egyptian concept of divine order, truth, and cosmic balance. He is the visionary CEO who doesn't just build a product, he builds a revolutionary corporate culture. He is the architect who designs a city so logical, so humane, that it functions like a living organism. He was loved. He was celebrated. His system was perfect. And that was the fatal flaw. Osiris's success, his absolute triumph in building this perfect order, created a blind spot. It was a blind spot so large, it would eventually cost him his life. He believed, truly, in the perfection of his own system. He assumed that because he was benevolent, his system was infallible. He assumed that because his kingdom was prosperous, it was immune to internal rot. He could see every external threat, but he was utterly blind to the one that mattered. The threat that was sitting at his own table, the one that was smiling to his face. In the corporate world, we see this every day. The charismatic founder who believes their own public relations, the leader who has built such a powerful company culture that any form of dissent, any whisper of discontent, is seen not as feedback, but as betrayal. The system becomes an echo chamber, a hall of mirrors reflecting the founder's own brilliance back at him, while in the shadows, resentment, jealousy, and ambition are allowed to grow, unchecked. Osiris's kingdom wasn't just a kingdom, it was a garden, and he had forgotten that even in the most beautiful garden, snakes can still find a place to hide. A system that cannot account for the variable of human betrayal is not a system at all. It is a time bomb. And the man holding the detonator was his own brother. The snake in the garden was Set. To dismiss Set as merely evil is to miss the entire strategic lesson. He is not a simple villain. He is the necessary chaos. He is the opposing force that tests the integrity of all systems. Set is the red desert, harsh, barren, and powerful, to Osiris's fertile Black Nile. He is the embodiment of ambition, of raw strength, of storms, and of the disruptive change that civilization tries to pave over. In our modern boardroom, Set is the brilliant, ruthless CCOO, the one who actually runs the company day to day. He's the one who makes the hard calls, while Osiris, the visionary, gets the applause. He is the insider who looks at the perfect system and sees only its flaws. He is the vice president who, in his heart, believes his vision is stronger, that he is the one who truly deserves the crown. And the genius of the myth, the Hindsight Lore, lies in how Set makes his move. He does not challenge Osiris to open combat. He doesn't try to beat him at his own game of order. He would lose. Instead, he orchestrates the perfect hostile takeover, a coup d'etat that is equal parts strategy, psychology, and public spectacle. He doesn't use a sword. He uses a gift. The story is chilling in its precision. Set secretly obtains the exact measurements of Osiris's body. He then commissions the most beautiful, ornate chest in the world, crafted to fit those measurements, and those alone. He throws a magnificent banquet in Osiris's honor. It is a celebration, a show of loyalty. And at the peak of the feast, he unveils the chest, a prize, he declares, for whomever fits inside it, perfectly. Think about this strategy. This is not a physical attack. It is a psychological one. Set is not attacking Osiris's body. He is attacking his ego. The one man who knows the chest is made for him, the one man who can prove he is the perfect fit for the kingdom, is Osiris himself. It's a trap, disguised as a coronation. One by one, the other guests try and fail. Then Osiris, confident and celebrated, lays down in the chest. It fits perfectly. And in that instant, Set and his conspirators slam the lid shut, nail it, and seal it with molten lead. This is the ancient blueprint for a corporate coup. The beautiful chest is the modern equivalent of a complex financial instrument, a poison pill clause, or a generous merger offer that is, in reality, a trap. It is the leveraged buyout that uses the company's own assets to dethrone its founder. It is the vote of confidence that has been prearranged to become a vote of no confidence. Set leveraged the system's greatest strength, its leader's absolute confidence and trust, and turned it into a fatal, coffin-shaped weakness. He didn't break the rules. He used the perception of the rules to make his move irreversible. Osiris, the architect of order, was murdered. And Set, the agent of chaos, took the throne. The system is now broken. The founder is gone. The line of succession is severed. A power vacuum has been created, and the most ruthless force has filled it. For most, the story would end here. The company is lost. The legacy is dead. But the story doesn't end, because the myth introduces its most critical player, Isis. Isis, the wife of Osiris and sister of Set, is not just a grieving widow. She is the archetype of the legacy guardian. She is the living embodiment of strategic patience, of intelligence, and of business continuity. She does not waste time in open, emotional rebellion against Set. She knows she cannot win. He is too strong. The system is now his. A direct fight would be suicide. So, she begins the most difficult work of all. She does not try to fight the new reality. She begins to manage the crisis. Her strategy is dual-pronged. First, she must save the mission. Set, in his paranoid rage, had dismembered Osiris's body into 14 pieces and scattered them across the Nile. This, too, is a strategy. To destroy a legacy, you must destroy its story. You must break it into so many conflicting pieces that no one can ever put the original vision back together. Isis, with relentless determination, travels the entire length of the river. She searches the swamps. She reassembles, piece by painful piece, the body of her husband. This is a profound metaphor for the work of a true guardian in a time of crisis. She is not just gathering body parts. She is regathering the core values of the organization. She is finding the original mission statement, the forgotten memos, the core code, the essential DNA of the company that the new, chaotic leadership is trying to erase. She is the executive assistant, the true believer, the company veteran who saves the files, protects the clients, and keeps the IDEA of Osiris alive, even when his body is broken. Second, and most critically, she must secure the future. While hunting for the pieces of the past, Isis is simultaneously protecting the one single hope for the future, her son, Horus. She hides him in the dense, impenetrable marshes of the Delta, far from the eyes of Set. This is the masterstroke of succession planning. Isis understands a fundamental truth. A legacy cannot be preserved like a museum piece. It cannot be frozen in time. It must be reborn. She must protect the heir, not just so he can inherit the throne, but so he can be trained to one day be strong enough to take it back. She is the guardian of the past and the incubator for the future. Isis has successfully preserved the DNA of the organization. She has saved the core mission from being erased. But a mission statement hidden in a drawer is useless. A true heir hidden in the shadows is just a liability. The DNA must be infused into a new host. The heir must be forged into a warrior. The full weight of the legacy, the entire burden of the future, now rests on the shoulders of Horus. Now, we must analyze the successor. And the most important detail is this. Horus is not Osiris 2.0. He is not a carbon copy of his father. He cannot be. Osiris was an architect of peace, defined by a world of order. Horus was different. He was a child of the Chrysis. He was born in secret, raised in exile, hunted his entire life by the usurper. He has the blood of order from his father, but he was raised in the world of chaos, created by his uncle. This makes him the perfect synthesis. He is the new generation of leader, the one who understands both the pristine vision of the founder and the brutal political reality of the current market. When he finally comes of age, the battle with Set begins. And we must be clear, this is not just a revenge plot. It is a war for the soul of the kingdom. It is a battle to define the future. Set represents change by chaos. Brutal, selfish, disruptive, and destructive. Horus represents change with purpose. The evolution of the original legacy adapted for a new, harsher reality. The battle between them rages for 80 years. It is not a single, clean fight. It is a grueling, protracted war of attrition. And in this war, Horus pays the ultimate price of leadership. In a climactic battle, Set tears out Horus's left eye. This is, perhaps, the single most important lesson in the entire myth. Horus wins, but he is wounded in the process. He is scarred. He is permanently changed by the fight. His lost eye is the price of his throne. It is the symbolic sacrifice that every true successor must make. You cannot simply be given a legacy. You cannot just take over as CEO and expect to have the same authority as the founder. You must fight for it. You must face the Set of your own time, the skeptical board, the entrenched bureaucracy, the cynical employees, the ruthless competitors. And in that fight, you will lose something. Your idealism, your naivete, your old sense of self. But the myth concludes with a final, beautiful act. Horus's eye is not lost forever. It is magically restored by Thoth, the god of wisdom. The eye that returns is no longer a normal eye. It is the Ujat, the eye of Horus, the eye that is now whole, complete, and magically powerful. It becomes the ultimate Egyptian symbol of protection, of healing, of royal power, and of wisdom. Horus did not just get his eye back. He traded his sight for insight. He had to be broken in order to become whole. This is the journey of the true successor. Think of Tim Cook after Steve Jobs. He was not and could not be Steve Jobs. He faced his own Set, a world that said Apple's innovation was dead. He had to fight his own battles over supply chains, privacy, and new product categories. And in doing so, he was wounded by criticism, but he gained the wisdom, his own Eye of Horus, to lead Apple into becoming the most valuable company on Earth. He didn't just inherit the legacy, he fought for it, paid for it, and in doing so, he made it his own. The story of Osiris, Set, and Horus is not a tragedy. It is a cycle. It is the timeless, repeating pattern of all human endeavors. Order, Osiris, will always be challenged by chaos. It is not a matter of if, but when. The internal threat, the jealous rival, the disruptive market force, Set will always appear. When that crisis comes, a true legacy, Isis, cannot be saved by simply looking to the past. It must be actively protected, its core DNA preserved, and then it must be handed off. And the new generation, the successor, Horus, cannot simply be appointed. They must be prepared for the brutal reality that their inheritance is not a crown, but a war they must fight, be wounded by, and win on their own terms to gain the wisdom to lead. For thousands of years, we have been asking the wrong question. We ask, how do I build a legacy that lasts? The Hindsight Lore of the ancient Egyptians, written in the blood of their gods, poses a far more profound and far more urgent question. Are you preparing your successors, not just to inherit what you have built, but to fight for it long after you are gone?